Hello and welcome to another American Photo Treks post-processing video. And if this is your first time watching one of these videos, and if this was your first time participating in one of our workshops, just want to say welcome. Thank you very, very much for coming. We had a great time, didn't we, at 11 Mile? That was really turned out really well. Ken Childress called that one perfectly. He said, if we're patient, the clouds are going to break, and boy, they sure did. And we were treated to a really clear, bright, beautiful, really Milky Way over that Great Lake, and just some wonderful foreground compositions. I hope everybody got great shots. And now I'm going to hopefully walk through with you and let's process a couple of those great shots we got. And I'd sure like it if you guys could share your images to our Facebook page, AmericanPhotoTreksLLC.com, and of course share them to the meetup site. Love to see how you guys do with it. So we'll get started. Just to show you, whenever I touch any kind of key on my keyboard, I've got a little thing set up here to show you exactly what I'm hitting. So that'll be right over there, and you can follow along with me. And I'll be, of course, as we shared with you, we wanted everybody to be shooting in RAW, and we really think this is an important part of capturing the Milky Way because you really need that data in order to capture the definition and the color of the Milky Way along with the foreground. So I've picked out a couple of pictures here. I'm using right now Adobe Camera or Adobe Bridge, and by saying hitting Control and Select, I've selected my two images, and we're going to take two images in a panorama, create one, and hopefully create a really beautiful image. So to open these, all I do is double click. There we go. They're both open. I just thought this was a cool photo. That's Tibor Vari up there on top of the rock. And this is kind of a variation on a picture I've done in the past, but it was such a clear, beautiful night, and I just thought Tibor looked so cool up there. And so I asked him to stay still for me, and he did. So this could come out pretty cool. So I'm going to, now everything I do to one image, I want to be done to both. And so I'm going to hit Control again and click them both and see how they're now both highlighted. Well, that means that now any edit I do here in Camera Raw will be on both, will affect both images. And I always start with the white balance. And here, let's try, Lars likes daylight. That's not really it for me. Let's try auto. Let's just start with auto. And me, I like, and that daylight doesn't look like Lars's photo usually look either. So he probably doesn't like that either. So I like a bluer sky, but not a super blue sky, about like that. Then I'll add in some of that purple tint too, that just gives it a little bit of color and pop. And that's kind of where I like to go. Who's to really say what's right when it comes to the color of the night sky? The atmosphere acts as a prism, and all that light from the Milky Way and all these stars is coming in through that prism. I think, okay, the daytime sky is blue, so I think the night sky is dark blue. So that's my idea there. But really, I think there's room for some artistic interpretation when it comes to this, and so it'll be interesting to see what you guys see. So I like it blue and pretty, and that's how I like it. So then, now this is something I do that some people probably freak out about. I go ahead and hit auto. Now that sounds crazy, right? You're processing a Milky Way image and you hit auto. But the thing is, that's just a good starting place for me. And obviously you don't want it as bright as auto is going to do. I'll bring that back down. Looks like I kind of exposed this right on the money. So that's good. Contrast is usually your friend with the Milky Way. It makes the Milky Way pop. Highlights. Now this can affect your stars. Look at that there. Kind of see there. Now you notice with whites, some of my stars turned color or blue or something like that. You can adjust that a little bit. I'm gonna bring out the shadows. We'll look at this picture here. Well, that's too much. That's bringing out too much of the shadows, isn't it? This is amazing, isn't it? That is the Sony A7S with the Rokinon 24mm 1.4. I call it a light vacuum, and here you can really see why, can't you? I mean, I'm going to say sync settings because I want the settings to be both, and I don't think it's really doing it for me, so now it is. But you can really see why I call it a light vacuum. I mean, again, you can read the word Alex on the tree, and there's no light painting whatsoever. I'm going to bring this down a little bit so that they both match, because I'm looking more at the sky. I want these two to match real well. And I want it to look realistic. And if it's too bright down here, it's not going to look very realistic at all. So blacks are good. Clarity is usually your friend with the Milky Way, but I don't do a lot of it right here because there's a cooler, more thorough way to do clarity that I'll show you here in a minute. Vibrance, going to pump up the vibrance just a little bit, not much. Don't really, maybe 1 on the saturation, that's about it. I do sharpen just a tad just because we're in RAW, but not much. I'll go up to about 45 here. I'll go with a radius of about 1.5 pixels. And then I only want the sharpening to apply. Really, I just want to make my stars nice and sharp and the edges nice and sharp. So I'll use a mask and I'll hit Alt, and then I'll move the mask over, and now you can see where the sharpening is being applied to. And it's just those edges, and it's just making the stars pop nice and sharp. You still don't want to do too much of it. You know, I don't really need any noise reduction with this A7S. It handles high ISO with really not any problem. ISO 5000, there's not. If I start messing up too much with noise reduction here, really I'm just going to lose some of the detail and stuff that I think makes this so cool. So now I'm going to come over and I'm going to enable my profile, lens profile. And we'll go to this one here. Again, I'll say select all. I want to do everything. And now what's great here is that they've added the Rokinon profiles. And you can see once I select the Rokinon 24, which is what I'm shooting with, a lot of you are shooting with a 14, you see what it did. It got rid of a lot of the distortion there and really, you know, gave the image, it took a lot of the vignetting off the sides there, and we can, well, it almost did it perfectly, so there's not a whole lot to do. And then I am going to come over here, and this is this dehaze filter, but I'm going to wait to do that until I merge my panorama. There's a couple other things I want to do after I merge my panorama as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these two images together to create one. And I'm going to do that again by clicking on these little lines up here, right there, and say merge to panorama. And this, how well did that work? Pow! Just like that. And if there was any kind of distortion, it did it so well that there really isn't. But if there was any kind of distortion, I could use this boundary wrap feature to kind of, you know, play with it and get rid of it. And it does it in a way that's non-destructive. But man, look at what a great job that did. That's pretty awesome. So I'll hit merge, and it wants you to name it. And so what will we name it? Let's call it 11 Mile. 11 Mile Pano 2, and it defaults to the digital negative file, and that is what I want to use right now. So I'll do that, and there's our image. That's incredible, isn't it? That is really fantastic. I love that. And I'm going to bring down the exposure just a little bit now because I want it to look more like a night sky. There you go. And now after bringing down the exposure, now that I've merged this, now I can bring up the shadows just a little bit here. And you can see it really makes it pop. God, I really like this image. And the T-board standing there really makes that, doesn't it? It just adds that extra element. Now I'm going to come, you notice this green haze here? I'm hating life, man. I do not like that green haze, but that's okay because I'm going to come over here to my colors, my luminance, and I'm going to see, let's see, where is that, what's happening with that green? Or is it aqua? See, so I'm looking right here, I don't know, that don't look too realistic to me. So what's going on there? So luminance isn't doing much with it. And a lot of times you can really move it to kind of get an idea of what you're affecting. There we go. There we go. So here's what I'm looking at right here. It just looks too green and unnatural to me. So I'm going to bring that down just a tad. And I'm going to go back actually to my luminance because now I've identified that. There we go. Looks a bit more natural. Still has kind of a green haze to it, doesn't it? Not sure exactly where that's coming from. And there we are. We'll come back over here. And, let's see. All right, well, I think I want that Milky Way to pop just a little bit more. So I'm going to use my adjustment brush. There it is right there. Oh, wrong one. There it is. It's like, what? That's not what I want. And, oh no, that's spot removal. Finally, here we go. Here's adjustment brush. And what this does is it applies a specific set of adjustments just to the area that I'm going to brush over. And you can see I've already got, these are already set up really for the Milky Way, where I've added just a little bit extra exposure, a little bit of contrast. Again, clarity is your friend. Dehaze, a little bit of saturation. I want to make my Milky Way pop just a little bit more. And you can kind of see it there. And let's see. And it did. It made it pop just a little bit more, but I don't know, something about it I don't really like that much. Let's bring down the contrast. There you go. I don't think I like the way it made the exposure. Let's see what that dehaze. There we go. So there we go. That's the basic image right there. I might take it into Photoshop and do some more advanced stuff to it just because I like this so much. But that's generally how you do it to create, and that's a pretty darn nice image right there. And that's the basic way we process these Milky Way images and how we create a panorama. Now I realize I go pretty fast on this, but the great thing is it's video, so that you can pause and catch up with me. You can see exactly the keystrokes that I do. And hopefully you can get some images that you really like too. And I got to say, I really like this one here. So, all right. Well, again, thank you very, very, very much for coming to the American Photo Treks workshops. We enjoy meeting everyone. We enjoy it, enjoy the outings, and we hope you guys do too. And again, please share your images at, here, I'll bring it up so you can see it. Right there. American Photo Treks LLC on Facebook. And again, of course, on the meetup page as well. So hope to see some of your images and hope to see you at another American Photo Treks workshop. You guys have a great one.